Hello and welcome to another one of these. I'm very happy to see I've got producer Phil with me today, which means I'm not so lonely, and I get your questions up on the little screen, which is one of my favourite things in the whole world. So let's take the black sands of time and turn them upside down. Right, first question comes from Davey, and Davey asks, I look forward to listening to your podcast every week. Good, because I look forward to making them. I listen to loads, and I can honestly see yours is up there with the best. Hear that, producer Phil? Anyway, my question is, what else do you have coming up for us fans? There's talk of something cryptic you said at the Leeds gig, and everyone is guessing, wondering what you meant. Right, Davey. Well, here we go. There's a few things happening now. What I meant in the Leeds gig was we got rid of our agents. Oh, I'm just going to go in and see. And we got rid of our agents who were putting us in smaller and smaller gigs. Now, my idea of a rock show should be in big gigs. And I try to explain this to everyone. A big rock show and a small gig, I think, is anathema. I think a big rock show should be big gigs. So I decided, instead of employing this law of diminishing returns, which we were starting to see, I've stopped all of the gigs that they had booked, which were in increasingly smaller and smaller venues. And I figured that the way to get back to our stock market value being of some worth is to go independent and start booking our own gigs. So we're doing something that we couldn't do if we were any other band with any other audience, knowing that I can rely on you lot to support us in all these independent endeavours, because you always have, whether it's been Songs and Words or the fan club or blah blah blah, you're always there, and we've got that as a strength. So we're going to utilise you. And so we've got some gigs coming up in November, December, which is going to be difficult because it's panto time, but we're going to book them in decent sized theatres, bigger than the Songs and Words theatres, and we're going to make it an acoustic evening, but not like a singer-songwriter acoustic evening. So don't get upset that you're not getting your full-on volume, because it's still going to be great, it's still going to be loud, but we're going to put the emphasis on the strengths of the band. And one of the new strengths now that I'm finding is the harmonies. We have some fucking amazing singers, and I'm not including myself in that little gang, but by God, we do harmonies well. So I really want to showcase the fact that we sound incredible when we're singing. So we're going to book this acoustic kind of evening where all I mean by acoustic is that there's no big electric guitars taking your head off, but there's still going to be drums, but you get to sit down in nice comfy old seats that are probably haunted, and we'll do a nice thing like we'll do one set, have an intermission at the bar, and then we'll come to the bar, say hello, have a couple of drinks with you, and then do a slightly more squiffy stroke entertaining set, at least for us, in the second half, and make it a real evening out. I want to do a concert program as well, which we haven't done since a very, very long time, but I love concert programs. So we're going to have a really exciting concert program. That's one of them. And then there's talk, should I mention the other one, Phil? Yes, okay. There's talk of a one-day festival that we're going to put together in the north, showcasing northern rock bands only. And this is going to be the kind of festival where, instead of just buying a ticket to a festival and going to watch some corporate event, you're going to be part of this festival. It's going to be the kind of festival that you can really say it wouldn't have happened without you. So it's going to be completely independent. It's going to be in a castle that we're still finalising, but we've found one that's perfect. It's going to be within the grounds of a castle. There's going to be a ton of stalls within the stone side of the castle, the thing of the castle. The castle. So yeah, the keep. Hey. So, yeah, the courtyard's going to be the gig, and the castle keep is going to be the stalls, and it's going to be amazing, but the north will rise again. That's going to be the spirit of it. Everything is going to be geared towards the north. The new album is going to come out in time for the festival, and that's all based around coming from the north, although the premise of the album is to be proud of where you come from. You don't have to come from the north to be proud of where you come from, but I'm from the north, and so that's my take on it. But yeah, there's loads of little things. There's also talk about, but there's a docu-series coming out that's going to be interviewing me about all manner of what have you. And there's going to be footage of us recording the album, and then there's going to be footage of us headlining Steelhouse Festival. So that's going to take place in July. And there's also a book idea. My favourite writer, I've made no secret of this, is Mick Wall, my favourite rock writer. And he has wanted to work with me for a while, and I'm a huge fan of his. And we're talking about doing a book where I can talk about how to improve your life, if indeed you want your life to be improved. And also some gnarly stories from the world of rock and roll, which is where Mick excels. So that's exciting. Knowing Mick, it will be available sooner rather than later. I think he's still finalised the book deal, but he writes quick. But I am so honoured that someone like Mick Wall would want to do a book with me, and I'm really, really excited about that. And there's a lot of other little things that are just, what it is I like the idea of you being a candle and just lighting other candles. And before you know it, you've lit so many candles that you're in this huge, bright room where a lot of people sit in the corner with a candle and say, that's the amount of light that I'm going to get. And I like the idea of touching things and making slightly bigger things. That sounds a bit rude. There you go. That's what's happening. There's nothing negative at all. There's just lots of things that we're going to be doing independent. So I guess the good thing about going independent is I'm involved in the organisation of everything, so I can talk about it. I don't have to ask someone else, is it okay to talk about this? Fuck everyone else. Yes, it is okay to talk about it. I said so. So yeah, Davey, that's what I meant. We're going to start doing, you're not going to see any less shows. You're just going to see more interesting shows. Pete K. Malley says, did you get the muff mutts, sir? Dog earphones? Yes, I did, actually. Thank you, Pete. I did. I bought some lovely camouflage earmuffs for Maggie, and we tried them out on the gig the other day in Leeds, and she fucking hates them, and she just takes them off straight away. And I'm going to try and endeavour to get her to sit with them in the house, but she just doesn't like them. You know, and let's face it, this dog has been on stage more than most musicians, so she knows the lay of the land, and it doesn't involve putting things on top of her head. So yeah, I got them, and I'm still going to endeavour to make them work so I can have her on stage when we're playing loud. But if she doesn't like them, then she's got to stay in the dressing room. As far as I'm concerned, that's her choice. So there you go. Here's a question from Danny Ray. It says, Ginger, how are you? I'm fucking great. I'm really good. I'm trying to really perfect the art of mastering your brain. Recently, I've had a few ups and downs mentally, and so if I'm having a morning where I'm just not feeling it, I could just very well go back to bed or just start drinking early. And I'm like, no. What you're going to do is you're going to get upstairs to the pain room, and you're going to lift some weights. It doesn't matter how many or for how long, you're going to do it, because I don't believe that you're just training your body. When you're doing this, you're training your mind, which is what I've been experimenting with lately, and it's going really well. So I am lucky that I live in a part of the world where if that doesn't work, I can just go outside and I can find something beautiful and invariably come back in a much better place than I was when I left the house. So yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Let's talk about album titles. What inspires them, especially PHUQ? You refer to it initially, whereas others call it fuck. His endless name is literally named after the Nirvana track. And what about Fisher for Luckies? Always love these podcasts, sir. They really work. I just love you lot saying that. I gather they work because you're still there. But I love you telling me that you like them. We all love that. So more of that, please. Right. PHUQ, pronounced fuck. The Q, without a U after it, cancels out the Q pronunciation and turns it into a K. So PHUQ is pronounced fuck, not fuck you. I don't know where that came from. Someone told me that there's a Billy Connolly sketch where he says his family was so posh they spell fuck PHUQ, and maybe that's stuck, or maybe it's coincidence because we're both linguists. But it might have been the Billy Connolly thing that just stuck in there. Same thing with Endless Nameless. I wasn't even aware of the track Endless Nameless, and I like Nirvana, but I didn't love Nirvana. I like Kurt Cobain, but I wasn't like I listened to the albums a lot. Obviously, the idea of Endless Nameless, the song, stuck in my head. Subconsciously, all writers run the risk of plagiarism, because we do pick up like fucking magpies, little shiny things, little bits, snippets of information, useless and otherwise. So I must have heard the name Endless Nameless before, but it wasn't, it just, I don't know why it entered my head. I explained before, I don't tend to think things through very much. If it seems like a good idea, I just consider it worth going to investigate. That's where that title came from. Fishing for Luckies was from a girlfriend I had back in the day, who the title Jonesy for Jones and the Miles Away Girl were written about. And she said that her grandmother used to, when she was little, used to go let them go on the couch and put their hands behind the couch and feel around for coins that had fallen out of the grown-ups' pockets. And she called this fishing for luckies. Or she called it fishing, and she called coins lucky. So that was why that title came. Titles always arrive from a number of different sources, but I do like a good album title, as you hopefully will agree, and they are no exception. Miles asks, what did the news of the world do to upset you? The song isn't about the news of the world. It's a obviously a play on words, because there's a newspaper called News of the World and it's full of trash, largely a right-wing propaganda rag, like all of the red tops are. Well, actually, these days, most of them are fucking right-wing propaganda rags. But I thought News of the World was the things that people make a big deal of, and how it affects society. And you know, again, when you see it now, obviously with social media, which didn't exist when I wrote Earth versus the Wildhearts, that people like to glom on whatever the popular conversation is, and so they're exercising and they're training their muscles in negativity. So people, you see it all the time. Producer Phil was just talking about, where people want to engage you in something negative because it's what they know. And you try and steer the conversation into positive and they'll change the subject because it's unfamiliar territory. And like I've said, fear of the unknown is the greatest fear. Fear of the unknown in a lot of people is their happiness, their positivity, the fact that they can make a difference by appealing one-on-one in a positive manner to everyone that they meet. But it's weird because they're used to slagging things off. And that's what News of the World was written about. People that behave like that. We used to call them weakeners. They enter a fucking room and try to suck all the joy out of it. And you all know those people. But I will say, if you still know those people, get rid of them, because there's no good there. Let them go and, furrow their little tunnel of negativity with more negative people. But they're spiritual bottom feeders and you're better off away from them. Stephen Rudderham. Oh, that's a great name, Rudderham. I was wondering if you're still in contact with the guys from Soho Roses. I'm not. Never was with the other two. I think I only really got to know Pat and Julian, both of whom ended up in the Wildhearts. I used to read about them in music mags back in the day, and the names stuck in my head. I saw an ad in Mexican Rock and Roll CD comp of all the stuff released, so I ordered it. The CD blew me mind, and I still listen to it loads. I seem to remember you had a couple of members in an early lineup of the Wildhearts. Well, Stephen, yes, I don't keep in touch with them. I occasionally see Pat around, and Pat is just a fucking wonderful guy. We had a producer called Rick Browdy. If you Google Rick Browdy, you'll see that he's a producer of some renown. He produced everything from Joan Jett to Ted Nugent to Poison, and he used to say that Pat, who was a black fella, could solve racism by just going and knocking on every house in America, one house at a time, and single-handedly solve racism. My mum, who is unfortunately from a generation where racism was quite the thing, didn't even know he was black. He came to stay at our house and she liked him so much she didn't even realise he was black. Pat was still is a lovely fella. Jules, the bass player, isn't well. He had a stroke and he ended up really, really bad. And I haven't heard from him or anyone who knows him for a while. And I'd like to know if he's doing all right. So if anyone does know Jules or knows anyone who knows him, please get in touch and let me know how he is. And I hope the news is not terrible. Javan Shepherd. Wow, you guys have got some fucking great names today. Javan Shepherd. What is the strangest thing you have autographed? I've autographed a lot of strange things. False limbs, a penis once, and only once, because you don't want to hold more than one dick unless it's yours. Personally, I don't want to. You can hold as many dicks as you want. It's your hand and someone else's dick. I have autographed all sorts of fucking mad things, but the worst one was when I was in the Choir Boys. And we had a girl come backstage who had a massive set of knockers. And I have autographed many, many breasts in my time, and there's nothing more fiddly to sign than a breast. Drumsticks are really fiddly, plectrums are even more fiddly, but breasts are pretty much impossible to do a decent version of your autograph on, being as they, I suppose silicone breasts wouldn't be so hard, but being as they don't stay still. At least the ones I like don't. Anyway, all 6 of the choir boys at the time signed this girl's breasts. It was a bit of drunken fun, and she seemed happy. The next time we saw her, she'd had them tattooed on her holy mounds. And it looked like a bunch of really bad varicose veins, because you were talking about a bunch of people who were drunk, probably hadn't really perfected their autograph to any kind of tattoo level. And, this woman had big breasts. It didn't come out very well. And she just looked like, oh, poor girl. I would love to find out where she is and if she got them covered up. Hopefully now you don't have to get them, painfully laser over months and months. You can just get them covered over quite easily. And I hope that she got them covered over. And I do apologise to a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband or wife. It was a drunken thing, and it really was a terrible, terrible idea. I hate autographing people's flesh when they tell me it's going to get tattooed. I'm a complete hypocrite, I know, because I've got a huge Dolly Parton autograph tattooed on my ribs. But I always tell them, look, if you want it to look nice, let me just draw it on a bit of paper and get your tattooist to cover it. And they say, no, I want it tattooed on my skin. And I'm like, well, I can't say no because I've had it done. But when they come back and show me, I'm sorry, guys, but it always looks crap. There's a way of doing a tattoo autograph that could look really, really nice. And if you want my autograph tattooed on you, please ask me to write it on a piece of paper or do a nice job, and then your tattooist will also do a nice job, and it'll look like something worth showing people. Mark says, loving these podcasts. Thank you, Mark. I fucking love you loving these podcasts. I wanted to ask you a drumming related question, as I know you play drums too. Yeah, well, I'm a frustrated drummer who learned to play the drums because a drummer that I'd employed didn't turn up to the session. Me being a frustrated drummer, I figured I'll do it myself, which was Hey Hello. But I think I'd recorded something before that. So I always intended to play the drums on Hey Hello because I wanted to play all the music. But anyway, I'm a drummer by default, by necessity. Who are your favourite drummers, and what do you look for in a drummer that plays in a band with you? This is a good one. My favourite drummers are... I've got to think about this. I really like Neil Peart, and I saw some footage of Dana Carey, who is a fantastic drummer. Not one of my favourites, but a fantastic drummer, playing with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. And there's nothing obviously wrong with Dana Carey's drumming, but man, they missed Neil Peart. Just a lot of the ghost notes and the little tricks, the little Neil Peartisms that he puts in. But I like powerhouse drummers as well. I love Cozy Powell. I think Lars Ulrich is a great drummer. Igor from Sepultura is a great drummer. Charlie Benante was a great drummer. Vinnie Paul was a great drummer. I do love good thrash drummers. I love double bass drum, and I've missed out tons of drummers that I really love, but I just like drummers that know how to bring it back. I like drummers that aren't all about flash, and sometimes I get drummers in the band that just want to kind of compete with the songwriting or something and go, well, you can do that well. Look what I can do well. And I'm like, come on, mate, come on. Come back to where we can all fucking talk. But I do like a drummer who can pull it out the bag. And if I say, put something fucking impressive in there, they can.